Hey everyone, what's going on? Meson here, and today I'm going to be talking about Annihilation. Came out early February, well, late February, February 21st, in the United States, and then March 12th, United Kingdom. It was written and directed by Alex Garland, based off the book that's a part of a trilogy called Southern Reach, but the book is called Annihilation, and the other two are Authority and Acceptance, and that book series is by Jeff Vandermeer. And this was a great movie. Excuse me. This is a great film, in my opinion. It stars Natalie Portman and Jennifer Jason Leigh, Gina Rodriguez, who is what's that show? The the show about basically about Virgin Mary. I don't watch it, but she won a Golden Globe for it, so it has to be pretty good. And so this movie was very interesting, and this video is going to be about this movie and particularly no self versus self. And this movie really, I believe, goes into Buddhism and that no self concept. But in a way, you don't really see that often. The only thing I could think of that's seen it like this would be Ergo Proxy, an anime that came out in 2006. So, at Area X that's a government faculty that's along the coast side. Cellular biology professor turned and former U.S. Army soldier Lena, played by Natalie Portman, undergoes a quarantine debriefing about an expedition into an anomalous electromagnetic field nearby known as the Shimmer. Lena and her husband, played by Oscar Isaac, who's also in this film, obviously, were the only survivors of this expedition. So in flashback, Lena's husband Kane, who was an Army Special Forces soldier, returns without any warning to their home after going missing a year prior. So he remembers nothing at the time. His health is just rapidly deteriorating. So while she's taking him to the hospital, the government intercepts them. It takes them to Area X. The Shimmer has begun to spread there. What had begun to spread there about 3 years prior. And at Area X, Lena is interrogated by Dr. Ventress, played by Jennifer Jason Leigh. A very interesting performance. Who then recruits Lena for her ongoing investigation. Explaining that military teams, including the one with Kane, ventured to the Shimmer to reach the lighthouse in which the Shimmer was first observed. No one except Kane, who is now in a coma, ever returned. So Lena joined Dr. Ventress on a research expedition to the Shimmer, which also comprised of Josie, a physicist, and Cass is a genomorphologist, and Anya is a paramedic. Lena does not reveal to her teammates that Kane is her husband. No. And so that's just the beginning of the movie, and then the second part really goes into how this fits in the whole concept of self and no self. So they go around this land and they explore and try to see what's going on. And for like example, muted alligator attacks Josie. Crazy shit just starts happening, and the team rescues her, and they find out the alligator shows signs that haven't been hybridized with a shark, along with plants that have been observed. This indicates that the Shimmer causes rapid unchecked mutation of living things. So I think that's where this really kind of goes more into the whole idea of how there is no real self. So spiritual practices, inevitably bring us face to face with the profound mystery of our own identity when you really think about it. So we have taken birth in a human body. What is this force that gives us life, that brings us to this world, into this form? So the world's great spiritual teachings all tell us all over and over that we are not who we think we are. But does that mean that there's no self or search for true self? So Persian mystics kind of say we are sparks of the divine, and Christian mystics say we are filled with God, and we all we all have all these things. Others say the world is all illusion. Some teachings explain how consciousness creates life, to express all possibilities, to be able to love, to know oneself. Others point out how consciousness gets lost in its patterns, loses its way, and incarnates out of ignorance. Hindu yoga calls that word a lilia, or dance of the divine, much like Dante's phrase, the divine comedy. So Buddhist text describes how consciousness itself creates the world like a dream or a mirage. Modern accounts of death experiences are filled with reports of wonderful ease after leaving the body, of golden light and luminous beings. Perhaps these two confirm how we are unaware of our true identity most of the time. When we look into the question of self and identity in spiritual practice, we find it requires us to understand how two distinct dimensions of no, how there are two distinct dimensions of no self and the true self. So when you think about it, so having the no self is basically this whole idea of how what we conjure up as a person being like, oh, I go to school, I'm a student, I'm a salesman, I'm an employee, I'm an actor, I'm a singer, I'm a lover, I'm a husband, I'm a wife, I'm a boyfriend, I'm a girlfriend. I like chocolate ice cream, I like vanilla ice cream. Things that just separate us from other people and allow us to create this identity, which is really just a self-image. And then there's having, and that's the whole self in no self at all. And true self is what we are away from all these things we tied onto our identity that allows us to have a sense of self and what we really are below it. And what is that? Is it emotions? No, because emotions come and go. They're not. We aren't our emotions. Emotions are very real. We aren't our emotions, and this is what the film slash book shows, kind of, I believe, through the mutations, how the whole self thing is very fragile, and things can just change just like that. How these plants and these animals have been able to kind of become something completely outside the norm. So they see these videos back from a memory card that shows King cutting open the abdomen of a living cooperative teammate to reveal that his intestines are like withering like a snake. So the teammate's body is still in the base and very recognizable for continuing mutation. So that night the base's perimeter is fenced in, and the family fence is torn down while Ventress and Lena stand guard. Then a mutated bear-like creature just drags Cass away screaming, and they find Cass is dead. Yeah, she's done, and it was really fucked up. That was a really fucked up scene. And I'm gonna try to jump ahead a little bit, but they keep going toward. They basically just keep going to the shimmer. They find more fucked up things, human-shaped plants, and things that Josie hypothesized the shimmer acts an organism in the same way as a prism distorts and refracts light. And then to go down, so a lot of the crazy shit happens, and then to go down a little bit more. Lena finds out that she's in the hole. She's in this place called the Hole, and she finds Dr. Ventress, she's let the forces that work in the Shimmer. The Shimmer, I believe, really represents the true self and who we are when we allow ourselves to go in the Shimmer. So Dr. Ventress tells her the Shimmer's forces, the forces that work in the Shimmer, will soon become all-consuming. So Dr. Ventress disintegrates into a glowing metal globe like nebulous structure that absorbs a drop of blood from Lena's face and becomes a humanoid entity that mirrors all that. So I believe this is what happens. Dr. Ventress loses her sense of self and becomes her true self. She loses this identity that she's been playing the whole entire movie, and she then, which I believe was why she's like almost an autistic woman, just really interested in anybody, very cold, very, very cold. And she becomes this being, but then when the blood of Lena goes into her, it kind of like, it soils her in the sense of that human egoic idea, the human egoic living and blood and being. And that's when, she comes out and she starts basically attacking Lena, and Lena's basically going toe to herself. I think this goes into the whole spiritual enlightenment deal, where you're basically going toe to toe with what's more important, the truth or yourself. And Lena in her body was herself, but the reflection that she was finding was the truth. And you can go a lot deeper into this movie. I think I went over kind of the whole general idea, and that is this movie is essentially signing with the Buddhism statement that there really is no true self, that this is all a figment, and our desires are what causes us pain. And if we can get rid of these desires, we'll be able to be painless. So it's really getting rid of the concept of having a self. And that's what I believe this is the underlying statement of this movie. So thank you all for listening. Please, if you like this, like, comment, subscribe. If not, whatevs. Check out my web novel, Orange Blue. Check out the Etsy shop with some great t-shirts, artwork. Check out my Patreon page for a lot of great rewards. And I'll see y'all very soon.